What's up, everyone? It's Q from RetroQ Gaming, and I am so excited because of some of the news we have lately. So, for those of you who play Final Fantasy XIV, specifically if you play Final Fantasy XIV from Europe and on a quote EU unquote server, but mostly just if you play Final Fantasy XIV in general, we've all known since the Fan Fest in December, the London Fan Fest in December of 2014, that Yoshi P announced that there would be an upcoming EU Datacenter. Mainly because the current EU Datacenter is based in Canada with the North American one, and people have horrible pings to it, which the fact that it was even launched there and put there is just fucking stupid. It's just beyond belief. It's like, hey, we have a European data center in Canada. Yay. That makes so much sense. So, yeah, it was announced anyway that in December of last year that they would be gathering information and purchasing hardware and all that kind of shit. But the main thing to come from it is in the letter from the producer live part 23 question and answers that happened on Friday just gone. It came up again, and one of the questions was in related to it. So I'll read it out here. It's question number 89. If you're on the Final Fantasy 14 forum in that section, it's the last question on page 9. So question 89. Please tell us the progress regarding the EU data center. Now all they had to say at the moment was answer 89. We've finished purchasing all the equipment and we're currently in the process of setting everything up. We need to perform various checks moving forward, but we're planning to open it sometime this year and hoping to do so around the timing of patch 3.1. So that's pretty big news. Now, the fact that patch 3.0 released in June, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was almost 3 weeks ago. So going by their usual planned patch cycle, so we've got June when it came out, 1 month July, 2 months August, 3 months September. So realistically we're probably, well, hopefully, and hoping everything goes right, because they plan on doing patches 3 months apart, so we're looking maybe at the end of September for the patch 3.1. Now, because it's going to be the first major patch after the expansion, it would not surprise me if it was delayed till October, simply because the amount of fixes, hot fixes, emergency maintenance, server changes, all that kind of shit that basically, unfortunately, needs to happen after the launch of an expansion pack. It would not surprise me if we didn't see it in September and we did see it in August at some point. October at some point. But the main thing to take away from it is that hopefully all this is on track for September, October, and hopefully we do get our EU servers on September, October time frame kind of thing, around patch 3.1. Now, there's one or two other things to note. Is the first way, if you will, is because the servers are based in Canada. And one thing as well is the Final Fantasy XIV is one of the few, if not only, server-side MMO. Most stuff is client-side based. Most MMOs, that I should say, are client-side based, but this is server-side based, which hurts it even more. When the game was first launched, it had a 0.8 second positional check. It was basically almost impossible to dodge stuff because the game is basically centralized around dodge an AoE, or you wipe the raid, or you wipe the primal, or you wipe the whatever you're doing. So that was almost impossible to do. So they changed that fairly quickly down to 0.3, which helped a noticeable amount, but it still wasn't good enough. So eventually they after so many complaints, they dropped it down to 0.1. So that helped a good bit. Now the problem that compounds on top of that is, okay, I live in Europe. I live in Ireland, so I'm on the very west side. I'm essentially the closest European country to the servers. So while I understand that it doesn't really affect me too much, I'm not blind to it at all. I mean, I'm there's no way I'm blind to it, because I'll give you a good example now in a minute. But during during fairly light times, during anything that's not prime time really, I will get a ping of about 60 milliseconds to the server. So 60 milliseconds isn't bad by the rest of European standards. There's people in continental Europe that are getting like 150, maybe I've seen up to 250 millisecond pings from some of those people. So I can only feel so even worse for them, because yeah, I have a 60 millisecond ping during quiet times, and on prime times it jumps up to around 80 to it's somewhere between 80 to 100 milliseconds. Now, by comparison, I'm used to playing games with 25 and under millisecond pings, because I play pretty much every game I have on European servers. When I used to play Titanfall, I was playing that on I think the closest one to me was the North Europe Datacenter, which would frequently be in the low teens. I'd be looking at 13 millisecond ping, 15 millisecond ping. On a bad day, I'd be looking at a 20 millisecond ping. When I used to play Battlefield 3, I mostly used to play on UK servers, which would all have 25 or below ping, and that's with 64 people, and it would still have a good ping. I mean, I think that the best I ever had at one point, I think I was playing with like a 10-second ping, but that was a bit of a smaller map. I was playing a close quarters map, but it's still, I had like 24 people, and I was getting like a 10-second ping, 10 millisecond ping. Jesus, could you imagine a 10-second ping? That'd be horrible. So my point is that even while 60 isn't too bad at least, I well understand how bad it is in comparison to what we should have over here in Europe, and I'm well aware of how bad of a comparison it is, given that other people in Europe are having significantly worse issues. But the fact is, actually, before I go into that, there was the example I promised a little while ago. In Final Fantasy XIV, on the ninja class, or the ninja job, if you will, there's a sequence of, or a series of special abilities that ninja has, and they're called ninjutsu. So you have to do what are called mudras. Now, chances are everyone watching this video, or at least the majority of you, already play Final Fantasy XIV, and you know what I'm talking about. But I'm just listening for those one or two people who don't understand it. The global cooldown is 2.5 seconds. So in those, you do a command, you have 2.5 seconds to wait before you can do another thing that's on the standard cooldown. So in that meantime, in those 2.5 seconds, you can use stuff that isn't on cooldowns. Now, by comparison, those mudras I was talking about, you need to do a combination of any combination of up to 3. There may be a fourth one. I haven't leveled my ninja past 50 yet, but the cooldown on the mudras is 0.5, so it's half a second. So in theory, you can pop 5 of them between. Now, 5 of them would do nothing, but in theory, you could pop 5 of those between an action. Or more realistically, you could pop 3 of them and then use the command to actually execute the ninjutsu and still have half a second left over. That's not the case because of ping and server-side game. So with the two of those combined together, your 2.5 second global cooldown is back up before you even have 2 half-second mudras completed. Now, there's videos out there of people playing in Japan on the Japanese servers, and if you watch one of those videos, they can complete the entire 3-step mudra and the command and still have time left over because of their proximity to the servers and their extremely low ping. So I'm hoping we see some sort of natural, tangible benefit in the form of mudra, ping reduction, and just overall latency reduction in the fact we're going to have EU servers. There's also one probably last thing to note, is that this is not confirmed, but it was commented by Yoshi P the last time he made an official statement about it, was that what they're most likely going to do, their current plan to do, is it may change based on whatever. This has been like a month or two since we last heard this, but currently what they plan on doing is they're going to copy all the data from the Chaos Datacenter, which is the current EU listed data center, and physically copy it over onto the EU Datacenter. Now, because of that, they estimated there would be a 2 to 3 day downtime of anyone playing on that data center. Now, obviously, because we can have characters on different servers and different data centers, we can play other ones just fine. That's not a problem. But anyone whose main character, like mine, is on the EU data center, Chaos Data Center, there would be a 2 to 3 day downtime while all that is copied over. Personally, I think it would most likely be worth it, depending on, as long as they don't fuck up the EU servers. And I don't really have any need to play it. I mean, you have other MMOs which have one job limited to one character. Final Fantasy is different. You have every job open to each individual character. So I've never really felt a need to level an alt, because I can do pretty much everything on the one character. So 2 or 3 days off wouldn't be too bad for me. I can catch up on videos, I can catch up on God knows what else. But other games that are out around then. But that's not going to happen for about 3 or 4 months from now, so that's not too much of a concern. So that's the main thing for that everyone should know in relation to this, if you will. Well, that I feel everyone should know. I think I've covered all the main points, being everything that was listed off, everything that was answered recently, everything that was commented by Yoshida recently. And it's going to be nice. I'm hoping that everything is transferred across, because I would like to see my ping be cut in, well, not even in half. If it was done properly, depending on where the servers are based and the quality of the servers, my ping could realistically be cut down by, it could be cut down to 33% of what it currently is. But again, we'll see how all that goes. I know a lot of the games I play, well, not a lot, but any of the games I play where I can't get onto a UK server, I look for a French server. They're slightly higher pinged, or most likely we'll see something based in Germany for Final Fantasy. And my ping to German servers is generally in the 40s somewhere. During prime time, it might go up to about 50, but hopefully that's not the case. But even 50 is an improvement over 60. 50 during peak time is an improvement over 60 during quiet time. And not to mention all those other people who are having 150, 250 millisecond pings. I know that a lot of Russian people are complaining because they have it even worse. So it would be nice to give them a place in Europe as well that would actually have something to do. So, well, something to do as an improvement for them, at least, anyway. So that's the end of the video. I'm going to leave it there, because I've reiterated the same thing a billion times now, which I tend to have a habit of do, and I'll hopefully try to break eventually. But yeah, other than that, we'll leave it there, and let me know in the comments section below what you think about the fact that we're most likely going to get a proper EU data center within the next 3 to 4 months. The fact that we haven't had one since launch 2 years ago, and the fact that the current EU data center, if you will, is basically just halfway across the world, and how the fuck a company could think that was a good idea. So let me know all that in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter. Details in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.